Now let's see how to mark that off in science, how we look at that. We're going to use electrons, he says, for the smallest matter we can think of. He says, did we use them up by going that 6 billion light years of space? No, we've made such a small hole in the mass, we can't see it. We can make this solid ball of electrons extending in all directions a distance of 6 billion light years, 6 times 10, 20 to the 28th times. Suppose again we had this great amount of electrons, 10 to the 157th of them, and we're able to make 500 of these tremendous balls, 6 billion light years in radius each minute. If we worked day and night, it would take us 10 power times the 6 billion years back to creation to use up our supply of electrons. Now, one of these electrons was marked and thoroughly stirred into the whole mass. Blindfold your man and ask him to find the marked electron. No man could in any way look over this mass of electrons, blindfolded or not blindfolded, and pick out any one electron, let alone the one that had been marked. The electron, in fact, is so small it can't be seen with a powerful microscope. To the extent, then, that we know this blindfolded man cannot pick out the marked electron, we know that the Bible is inspired. This is not merely evidence. It is proof of the Bible's inspiration by God. Proof so definite that the universe is not large enough to hold the evidence. Some will say that our estimates of this probability of fulfillment of these prophecies are too large, and the numbers should be reduced. Ask a man to submit his own estimates, and if they are smaller than these we've used, we shall add a few more prophecies to be evaluated, and this same number will be reestablished or perhaps exceeded. Our Bible students claim that there are more than 300 prophecies dealing with Christ's first advent. If this number is correct, and it no doubt is, you could set your estimates ridiculously low on the whole 300 prophecies and still obtain tremendous evidence of inspiration. Folks, this isn't just evidence for the proof of the Bible being true. It's proof. It's mathematically impossible for anybody other than Jesus to fulfill those prophecies, and he did. And that's just 48 of them. They can't even fathom the number to get to 300 of them. It's beyond fathoming. It is proof. We don't have to prove creation, folks. You can't. We need to only say that the Bible is true, and God has proven it to be true. We don't have to prove it. The evidence is internal. We've seen it throughout history. If you had to prove it, how would you prove Jesus walking on the water? How would you prove splitting the Red Sea? How would you prove raising from the dead? How would you prove so many miracles in the Bible? If that's how we're supposed to look at this scientifically, then how does anybody believe anything in the Bible? And that's where the evolutionists trip us up, and they get us to balk on creation, and therefore we have to balk on everything else. Because even if they don't admit it to us, if we think about it, if we give up creation, then we have to give up everything else. Because there's some far more amazing things. How about that God can cleanse us from all our wretched sin? If he can do it for that and create the whole world, then there's no doubt he can do everything else. What do the evolutionists have for proof? Big fat flaming nothing. They got nothing. They get questions they have to keep asking. And here it is. This is from Scholarpedia. These are scientists that presented this evidence in 2008. This is them talking to people about the lambda-cold dark matter model of the universe. And listen to their specific wording. These results have been widely heralded as the dawn of precision cosmology. To a casual science observer, which is just about everybody in this room and anybody that watches TV and gets bamboozled by this, the unprecedented precision in determining the parameters of the standard cosmological model, the lambda-cold dark matter model, often conveys the false impression that we actually know and understand the components that make it the universe. We know its primal history, including the theoretical scenarios of baryogenesis and inflation, in evolution, including growth of large-scale structures. They don't. They say it's a false impression that we understand those things. Did you hear them use that term, inflation? I could go into gravitational time dilation, which is a creation cosmology that Dr. Russell Humphreys put together, a great physicist, very smart man. I could go into that with you and show that we do have a good scientific reason to believe that we were created in 6 days. And sure, it's refuted and argued about, but even Humphrey says, well, I don't care if it's argued about or not. Again, we trust the Word of God. We don't trust what science says about the Word of God, but he has a good model, and it's arguably right. Evolutionists say you can't get the light and you can't get the transfer of energy from the light from one end of the universe to the other. You don't have enough time in the 6 days, especially not 6,000 years that you have now. You can't do it. But they don't like to tell you that they have their own time travel problem. Because the distance of our universe, at the size that we know it is, Even light speed cannot cover the distance of the universe in the 14.56 billion years they say the universe is today. In fact, if you give them 20 billion years, it can't get across the universe. And you know why we know we've gotten all the way across the universe? Because if you saw that little video, something didn't go to, so they didn't want to do the whole thing. So that big blue screen, that's the CMB, that's the microwave band or something. And it's where we measure by temperature the radiation level in the universe. And we've seen that it's uniform everywhere in the universe. So they say light has traveled the whole distance of the universe. But it can't. It doesn't move fast enough. So evolutionists say, well, you creationists have a time travel speed problem. And we say, so do you. So you can't refute ours with your own problem as well. How did they come up with that answer? What did you hear in that video? Inflation. What did these guys just say? We don't really know how inflation works. We don't really know it's true. Inflation is this idea that light sped up real fast at the beginning. In the beginning of the Big Bang, it covered that distance and then slowed down to the relative 186,000 miles per second we have today. They make up their own answers, their own theories. It's not proof. They say so themselves. We don't have to trust, we don't have to be fearful of evolutionary scientists. They don't have the answers either, folks. They really don't have a clue. Let's pull this out here. I'm going to show you this one. You'll really like this. This is a quick video by Richard. This is Expelled. If you haven't seen Expelled with Ben Stein, highly recommend you watch it, buy it. It's down in the bookstore. Pick it up. This is
well, then who did create the heavens and the earth?
Why do you use the word who? You see, you immediately beg the question by using the word who.
Well, then how did it get created?
Well, by a very slow process.
Well, how did it start?
Nobody knows how it started. We know the kind of event that it must have been. We know the sort of event that must have happened for the origin of life.
And what was that?
It was the origin of the first self-replicating molecule.
Right, how did that happen?
I told you we don't know.
So you have no idea how it started?
No, nor has anybody.
Nor has anyone else. What do you think is the possibility that intelligent design might turn out to be the answer to some issues in genetics or in evolution?
It could come about in the following way. It could be that at some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology and designed a form of life that they seeded onto perhaps this planet. Now, that is a possibility and an intriguing possibility. And I suppose it's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the details of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer.
Wait a second. Richard Dawkins thought intelligent design might be a legitimate pursuit?
And that designer could well be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe.
Well,
but that higher intelligence would itself have had to have come about by some explicable or ultimately explicable process. It couldn't have just jumped into existence spontaneously. That's the point.
So Professor Dawkins was not against intelligent design, just certain types of designers, such as God.
So
some aliens could have done it. You know, maybe they designed it. That's why we see all the issues. Maybe the aliens made us. You know, I guess that could be how. That's a really intriguing principle to look at, because we sure can't explain it with what we've got. So maybe it was this highly intelligent designer. That's an intriguing principle, Dawkins would say. Well, I want you to watch this next video. I may cut it short because it's kind of long, but I want you to see this, and I want you to see where we'll have scientists completely destroy biological evolution and show that it can't happen.